Alright, today we're going to be looking at solving quadratic equations using our quadratic formula. Or to use the quadratic formula, the first thing we have to do is make sure that our equation is in standard form. And standard form looks like this right here. ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. After that, we've got to use our nice handy-dandy formula, which is right here. Now, luckily, our handy-dandy formula goes nice and neat with Pop Goes the Weasel. Easy way to remember it. We just sing the formula. X is equal to the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And if you sing that a few times in your head every time you go to do it, and as you write it down, you will always remember the quadratic formula. Now, to actually use the quadratic formula, I'm going to look at my first example here, and I've got to go through and list the coefficients of each of my terms, my a, b, and c. This one, the leading coefficient is 1, so that is my a. A is 1. Here, b is 10, and c in this case would be 25. Once I have my a, b, c's, I can then just plug them into my formula as easy as 1, 2, 3. So here I have x is equal to the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Every time I do a formula, I like to go and write the formula down. So I'm going to come over to the side here. X is equal to the opposite, and instead of plugging the numbers in directly, I like to go and put in empty parentheses in the places. This helps me keep from making silly sign errors as I plug things in. So in the first blank, it says I need b. In this case, b is 10, so I'm going to plug in a 10. My next blank, it says it's b also, so plug in a 10 again. And then it says minus 4a. A is 1, so I plug a 1 in the first blank here. 1. If I can get the 1 in the blank, there we go. And then the last one is 25. And on the bottom we have 1. So now it's a matter of doing a little bit of arithmetic and cleaning things up. A negative 10 plus or minus the square root of 10 to the second power is 100. Minus 4 times 25, well, that's 100, over 2 times 1. 2 times 1 is 2. Well, 100 minus 100, well, that makes 0, so therefore my radical has been eliminated this time. So this one is actually a perfect square trinomial, and therefore it has one single solution of negative 10 divided by 2, which is negative 5. So x is equal to negative 5. Looking at example 2. Here, I go through and first collect my a, b, c's. My a in this case is going to be 3. My b is going to be negative 5. And c is negative 2. Again, it's a good practice. Write the formula. X is equal to the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And as you write it, sing it, and it'll help you remember the formula. Again, go back and substitute. So I have x is equal to the opposite of blank plus or minus the square root of blank squared minus 4 times blank blank all over 2 blank. Again, I like to put the empty parentheses to help keep from making silly sign errors, because those things will eat you alive if you do not pay attention. So here I have a negative 5. Negative 5 goes right here. Again, I have negative 5. Here I have a positive 3, and a negative 2, and then a positive 3. Back to doing my arithmetic. This becomes a positive 5, plus or minus the square root of negative 5 to the second power is a 25. Here I have negative 4 times positive 3 times negative 2. That comes out to be a positive 24 over 2 times 3 is 6. So I now have 5 plus or minus the square root of 49 over 6. Well, 49 is a perfect square. Anytime that you have a perfect square, we're going to end up with 5 plus or minus 7 over 6. So therefore I have to separate these as to x equals 5 plus 7 over 6, and x is equal to 5 minus 7 over 6, and I'll have two distinct rational answers. Well, 5 plus 7 is 12, and 12 divided by 6 is 2, so x is equal to 2. There is one solution. My second one here, 5 minus 7, that's negative 2, so I now have negative 2 over 6, so x is equal to a negative 1/3. And there are two solutions. Looking at our third example, again, I go through and collect my ABCs. Again, my leading coefficient here is 1, so I'm going to put a 1 here. I have a negative 4, and I have a negative 12. Again, write the formula. X is equal to the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Go back and rewrite the formula this time, putting empty parentheses everywhere that there was a variable. Now let's go back and plug in our empty blanks. So I have a negative 4 goes here, and a negative 4 goes here. I need A is 1. I need C is a negative 12. And then I need a 1 here as well. Simplify all this using a little bit of arithmetic. This makes a positive 4 plus or minus. Negative 4 to the second power is 16 plus 48 over 2. So this now simplifies out to 4 plus or minus the square root of 64 over 2, which that's 4 plus or minus 8 over 2. Since we had a perfect square again, I need to separate each of these. X is equal to 4 plus 8 over 2. X is equal to 4 minus 8 over 2. For this top one, this is going to be 12 over 2. X is equal to 6. The bottom one, this will be 4 minus 8, which is a negative 4 over 2. Therefore, we get x is equal to negative 2. Solving quadratic equations using the quadratic formula. It's not always the most efficient way to solve, but will always work when solving quadratic equations. Good luck.